So starting off with the deck profile here, we have triple Tearlament Rhino Heart. This card is a mandatory 3 of. He's absolutely incredible. If you don't know what he does, he's a warrior, which if you play Rota means you can search him, but in this build we don't. He's also level 4, and he basically, on summon, he is a Foolish Burial. If you mill him, he summons himself from the graveyard by getting rid of a Tearlament's card from your hand, and then he can do the Foolish Burial. So absolutely goated card, and you need him to make your big fusion, so you need to play him at 3 essentially. For a card that's been going up in price a lot recently, we have triple Tearlament Kashtira. Again, another 3 of. This card is really cool, quick effect. During the main phase, you can banish a Tearlament's card or Kashtira card from your graveyard, summon him, and then mill 3 cards. And also, when he goes to the graveyard, you can mill an additional 2 cards. So essentially, your Kit Kalos for the deck, it's your mill 5. Obviously, it's not as good as Kit Kalos, but Kit Kalos is banned, and, you know, he's a decent replacement. We have, for the names, obviously, 1 of each, 1 Shiren, 1 Halfness, 1 Merly. Of course, these are all limited because they're goated. Obviously, I think Shiren is the best because it allows you to pitch other monsters from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can mill on a special, and then it doesn't take your normal. Halfness is good if you draw it during your opponent's turn. It's sort of like a hand trap, and Merly is really good because it's a level 2. And in this current build that I play, I don't play the Synchro version. I play the version that makes the Draco Sack to then make Cherubini and then make Sprite Sprint to send the Merly and the King of the Swamp to get a fusion. And that's why Merly, I think, is amazing that it's level 2. For the Ishizu cards, of course, again, all at 1. So we just play 1 of each. These cards are still crazy. Kelbeck and Agido being obviously the better ones because they mill 5. Keldo and Medora being good if you have the field spell because you can shuffle back your tiers and basically get the pops whenever you need them. For your other Kashtira cards, triple Kashtira Fenrir. This card allows you to search Tearlament's Kashtira, and when it's milled, it's not even a bad mill because you can banish it with Tearlament's Kashtira. And just an incredible card, going first or second, so really, really good. For our sort of little package that I like playing triple Danger Nessie because it's a Aqua Dark, and this helps a lot when you want to make Garura plays to get a level 6 on board to then make your Beatrice, or just use the Garura as a material and draw a card. And also if you use the Danger Nessie effect and they hit 8 elements, it's going to trigger their effect as well. So really, really nice. And I just love Danger Nessie. It's sort of a shame that if they snipe it, you can't add another Danger. Maybe play 2 Danger Nessie and 1 Mothman. So if they do hit your Danger, you can search Mothman. But apart from that, triple Nessie is amazing. And the fact it's Aqua is just even better. We have triple King of the Swamp. I absolutely love this card. If you don't feel like playing Poly, you can play his level 4 version, which is, I think, Beast King of the Swamp. And it's essentially the same card, just level 4, but you can't discard it to search Poly. I think Poly's still good because you can make Guardian Chimera with it. If you don't know what it does, its entire effect, apart from searching for Poly, is that he counts as any name in the graveyard or hand for a fusion summon. So this is how you make your Rue Kalos. You basically have to substitute this card with the name Tearlament's Kit Kalos, and yeah, that's essentially how you make your Rue Kalos. You can also make the Dark World fusion by having this card name as Grapha, so really, really nice, and I think 3 is absolutely insane. It's an Aqua as well. For, you know, this is sort of not anymore a staple where it used to be. I think Divine of the Herald is great because you send your Ishizus and then it becomes level 6 and your Ishizus can mill. It's also a tuner, which lets you go for Synchro 10 plays. If you use this and a Rhino Heart, you can easily make a Barone. So I think that's worth playing. And of course, if you don't need the mill 5, you can send the Shizu Shufflers. And it's just a very versatile card. If it's level 6, you can also use it for Beatrice line. So you don't have to use it, you know, just for the Synchro. You can use it for the XEs. And it's also a fairy, which helps with our triple Herald of the Orange Light. This is basically one of the only ways to play around Shifter, which is why I'm playing it. It's kind of, you know, Ash is also very good. You can just play Ash if you don't want to play the Herald, but Herald stops Shifter, which on paper is what the deck hard loses to. So we sort of need to play. We play 9 fairies. That's not a lot. That's not a big fairy count, but it, you know, you can draw 2 fairies, and then if they shifter you, you can stop it with Herald of the Orange Light. And if it's the Ishizus, you're going to have their graveyard effects as well. Moving on to the spells, triple of the Primitive Planet Pilarino. This card's basically going to the moon at the moment, so yeah, if you don't have these cards, maybe it's not the best time to pick them up. I think they're around 40 something each at the time of recording, so crazy considering they were £20. I picked up the entire Tearlament score for 50, and now it's going to the moon essentially. But obviously this card is insane. When you activate, it adds you any Tearlament or Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand, and also every time a Tearlament monster you control is shuffled into your deck extra deck, it targets a card on the field and pops it, and it can do your own cards to trigger the fusion summons. For the other field spell, we have the one Pressured Planet Race Off. I like playing two because it gives you option with your terraforming if you open one, and this obviously just adds you the Kashtira. It can also add you the Tearlament Kashtira if you need a Tearlament instead. This is the only field spell of this series that doesn't mention Visa Starfrost, which is kind of annoying. If it did, you'd be able to search it with Trivic Karma, like Primeval Planet, but since this doesn't mention Visa Starfrost, despite having it on the artwork, you can't. So that's the only bad thing I'd say about the card, but the card's still very good. We have double Tearlament Scream, an insane card. You want to mill it. When you mill it, it adds you a trap, and your traps are just incredible cards. And also, when you have it on the field and your monster's normal or special, and you have a Tearlaments, you get to mill. That's you and your opponent. So if your opponent summons and you have a tier, you mill, and if you summon while you have a tier, you mill as well. So really nice. They're once per turn, but this allows you to punish your opponent's normal summons and then get some more milling and hopefully disrupt it. We have one Call by the Grave. We need as many outs to shift as possible without playing Crossout Designator, because that card I don't think is very good in this. So with 3 Herald of the Orange Light and the 1 Call by, you have 4 main deck outs, 2 Shifter, which I know isn't a lot, but at least it is something. We have the 1 Polymerization. Love this card. Basically, it's searchable with King of the Swamp, and it makes you your Guardian Chimera. And Guardian Chimera is one hell of a card, and it can't be targeted if Poly's in the grave. We have the 1 Terraforming, just 4th copy of your Tearlament's field spell and 2nd copy of your Kashtira field spell. For the traps, we have double Tearlament Sulik. When this card is milled, it's a Rota, and when it's on the field, it's a negate of a monster effect every single turn by sending a monster you control to the grave. You obviously only use it if you have Tearlaments on board or Visa Starfrost, but cards just, it's imperm for every turn, and I think it negates the effects forever as well. Not even just for the turn, it's just negated forever. So really, really nice. We have 1 Tearlament Metanoise. Book of Moon is very good, so why not have a Book of Moon and Foolish in one card? And if this card gets milled, you add a tier monster from your graveyard to your hand. So really nice. The counter trap I play in the side deck, and I think the counter trap is very good, don't get me wrong, but I think it's more for the game 3 when you are going to go first. You're going to side in the counter trap, and that's going to basically help you play around the Dark Rulers, the Evenlies, and that sort of stuff. And then for the last trap, we have the 1 Trivic Karma. Never want to draw this card. There is ways to get around it, like you can plan it, pop it if you draw it, if you're unlucky enough to draw it. But what its main effect is, when in the grave, you're going to banish it and you're going to search for any card that mentions Visa Starfrost. So essentially almost your entire deck. That is the main deck. It is 40 cards. Let's now move on to the extra deck. Going to the extra deck, we're going to start off with the 1 Sprite Sprint. This is sort of part of a package with Cherubini. So if you don't know the combo, it's basically you're going to get 2 level 7s onto the field, and you're going to make Draco Sack. Draco Sack's going to summon 2 level 3 tokens. With that, you make a Cherubini. Cherubini is going to send for cost your King of the Swamp to the graveyard, and then using the Draco Sack and the Cherubini, you're going to make your Sprite Sprint, and then Sprite Sprint is going to Foolish Burial your Merly, and Merly is going to allow you to fusion summon either into Rookhalos or the Dark World Fusion. So these cards sort of go hand in hand. If you have the extra extenders, you can keep Draco Sack on the field, and that makes Sprite Sprint a sort of interruption during your opponent's turn as well, which is fantastic, and I just think these cards pair with each other perfectly well in this Tearlament deck, and no one ever really expects it. We have the 1 Cross Sheep. This is for if we mill Diviner of the Herald, we can make Cross Sheep fusion and then summon Diviner, and Diviner send an Ishizu and then either mill 5 or have the graveyard interruption. So Cross Sheep is great. And that's it for the links. For the fusions, we have the 1 Tearlament's Kaleido Heart. Card's cracked, honestly. On summon, or when an Aqua monster is sent to the graveyard, you're going to target 1 card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. And if it's outed by card effect, it's going to Foolish Burial a Tearlament card and revive itself. And that is where it starts getting crazy. When you make Kaleido Heart and you have Planet, you can Planet pop your own Kaleido. Kaleido go to graveyard, use its effect to Foolish Burial any Tearlament card, usually one that fusions, and summon it back. And if you do this turn one, obviously there's not going to be nothing to spin back, but that sent Foolish Burial card off the Kaleido Heart for the revival effect is then going to be able to fusion again. So, brilliant card. You don't need more than one, though. The extra deck's a bit tight, so just one is fine. We also have the one Tearlament's Rukalos, a beautiful Starlight Rare. Again, this card's just insane. The fusion monsters for Tearlaments are just all cracked. Like, they knew exactly what they were doing when they made these fusion monsters. Obviously, Kit Kalos is banned, but these two are still amazing. Obviously, it has the secret effect that no one knows, that other aqua monsters you control cannot be destroyed in battle. No one ever knows that. And also, obviously, when your opponent is going to special summon a card from the deck, you can negate it with Tearlament's Rhino Heart. Remember, if you don't destroy the card, you do not send. So just something to be cautious of. You don't need to send, so it's actually better for you that way. And also, when this card is sent to the graveyard, it does revive itself. So brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Remember, if you do revive itself, the next time you send it won't come back because it's no longer fusion summoned. But just 2 for 1 is crazy value, to be honest. We have the one Guardian Chimera. Obviously, this is your poly target. And on summon, depending on the amount of materials used, if you use 1 from field and 2 from hand, or 2 from field and 1 from hand, you're going to draw cards and blow up cards on the field, equal to what I just said. And if you have poly in the graveyard, your opponent's not going to be able to target this with card effects, which is really good. And it's 3/3. With the field spell boost, it goes up to 3/8. So huge. We have the one Grapha. Really nice. Remember, it can only negate normal spell or traps or monster effects. I've seen people trying to negate things like floodgates or quick play spells. You just can't. You can only normal spells or traps or monster effects. But again, very good card and very easily made with any Tearlaments and a King of the Swamp. We have the one Predaplant Draco's Stapelia. Just use it for if you want to negate. This is good against Flounderies. If you want a just quick effect target and then it places a counter and then its effect applies that while that monster has a counter, its effects are negated. So yeah, that's why we played Draco's Belly. It's very good interruption. We have the one Garura, as I mentioned. Not only is he level 6, he's very easy to make. Does double damage, which is great. Some people don't expect just 3k off him, and that can be sometimes enough for game. When he goes to the graveyard in any shape or form, you draw a card, which is really nice. We have the one Mud Dragon, just easy to make like the Garura, and this is for level 4. This is if we want to go into our rank 4 Xyz plays that can do a bit of everything, as you see. We just make the Mud Dragon instead. For Xyzs, we're of course going to round it off. We're going to start it off, with a Zeus, as we play so many Xyzs. Playing Zeus is, a no-brainer. Draco Sack, which no one thinks is, a thing anymore since Dragon Ruler format. He's here, my guy. 2 level 7s, and the tokens he summons are level 3, which allow you to go into Cherubini. Brilliant. And he also contribute a token or a Mecha Phantom Beast, so it can be himself, and blow up a card in the field. We have the one Beatrice, Lady of the Eternal, just a Foolish Burial and a quick effect. 1 string your turn, 1 string opponents. I really need to say why that's good. We have the one Time Thief Redoer. This is usually with a Rhino Heart and another level 4, and it's important is that the Rhino Heart will no longer be banished if it used its graveyard effect, so you can keep recycling the Rhino Hearts. And sometimes you get to steal a trap, which is fantastic. Sometimes you get to steal a spell and get a draw, so it has its moments. And then, of course, the one Baron de Fleur to finish off this deck profile, and you can make this with a Diviner and any level 4. So I just wanted to show you guys that.
It's time! Let's go!